Grocery prices up 3.1% in 2025. Remember that squeeze? You feel it every week. At the checkout, at the pump, in your bills. But is the US economy really recovering? Or are you still feeling the pain? Today we dive into unbiased government data, GDP, jobs, inflation, and your real costs through the end of 2025. No spin, just facts that hit your wallet. Explained clearly so you can decide what matters. By the end, you'll know the real numbers behind your wallet and why the American economy is resilient, empowering you to vote smarter in 2026. We'll show what changed since before the pandemic and what it means for you right now. Watch for on-screen sources so you can verify everything yourself. Ready? Let's start with GDP, the big picture, GDP basics and growth. Remember, GDP is everything America produces, from services to manufacturing, measured in dollars. Let's put numbers on it. GDP measures the market value of everything produced. In 2025, total GDP topped about $30.6 trillion. We adjust for inflation to get real growth. 2.5% in 2023, about 2.8% in 2024. Growth accelerated in 2025. Q3 ran about 4.3%, thus and 4.4% annualized, fastest in 2 years, with strong consumer spending and exports. Q4 2025 forecasts, roughly 3.2% to 4.2%. Real GDP per person reached about $89,599 in 2025, up roughly 4% from 2024. Translation: after inflation and population, the average American produced more value than ever. But growth can be uneven, which brings us to jobs. Unemployment roller coaster. February 2020, 3.5%. April 2020, 14.8%. One of the worst on record. The rebound was fast. By January 2023, 3.4%. As of January 2026, unemployment sits at 4.3%, with 130,000 jobs added that month. Important revision: 2025 job gains were revised sharply, from 584,000 initially to about 181,000 actual. Participation edged up to 62.5%. Since the pre-pandemic peak, net jobs have grown by millions overall. Have you felt job stability? Or more churn? Inflation explained. Inflation is the general rise in prices tracked by the CPI. In 2019, inflation ran between about 1.5% and 2.3% year over year. Then it surged, peaking near 9% in June 2022, a 40-year high. By December 2025, inflation cooled to about 2.7%, with core pressures easing in Q4. Still, the cumulative effect since before the pandemic is big. Prices are up roughly 19% overall. Gasoline tells the story. Around $2.60 a gallon in 2019, near $4 in 2022, a peak close to $5, then averaging about $3.10 in 2025. What did you cut back on when prices climbed? Everyday cost hits. Shelter costs, rent, and owner's equivalent are up about 21% since January 2021. Median home price reached roughly $426,800 in 2025, while wages lagged for many years. That pushed the home price-to-income ratio to about 5.1, a tough bar for first-time buyers. Food costs rose 3.1% in 2025, and overall food prices are up about 25% since 2019. To fight inflation, the Fed hiked rates, pushing 30-year mortgage averages from under 3% to around 6.1%, off recent peaks but still elevated. Have you run the math? Rent or buy in your city, wages and income reality. Median weekly wage for full-time workers in 2025, about $1,204, roughly $62,608 annually. From DEC 2024 to DEC 2025, nominal wages rose 3.8%, while inflation was 2.7%, real gains of about 1.1 to 2%. Median household income hit about $83,730 in 2024. Estimates for 2025 land around $86,000. Typical middle 20% family, $64,417 market income, pays $21,620 in taxes, receives $25,578 in benefits, net around $68,575. Bottom 20%, about $2,800 market income, $33,000 in benefits, $4,400 in taxes, net roughly $31,500. Top 1%, minimum to qualify near $941,776, average $2.9 million, pays $1.3 million in taxes, nets around $1.6 million. But wait, what about your paycheck? Track it against CPI over time to see real buying power, demographics, poverty, and benefits. Single-person households grew from 13% in 1960 to about 29% today. Americans 65+ rose from 13% in 2010 to about 18% in 2025, increasing benefit reliance. Median household income varies. Asian, $187,000, non-Hispanic white, $81,060, Hispanic, $62,800, Black, $52,960. Official poverty in 2024, about 10.6%, roughly 35.9 million people. Child poverty, about 14.3%. Workplace protections improved. Paid sick leave 67%, 80% since 2010. Paid family leave 11%, 27% through 2025. Retirement accounts rose from 37% to 54% since 1989. About 72% of private industry workers have access to retirement benefits. One more twist. The top 20% drove a record 57% of 2025 spending as confidence slid, a K-shaped recovery dynamic. Looking ahead, forecasts see slower growth near 1.9% and unemployment around 4.5% in 2026. So where does that leave you? Informed and ready to act. Let's recap the key facts you can use. Example: a family's 2019 budget versus 2025. Rent plus 21%, groceries plus 25%, gas cycles down from the peak. Wages modestly ahead of inflation in 2025. Every line in this video links back to official sources you can verify. GDP rising, jobs resilient but revised, inflation cooling, costs still elevated, benefits cushioning, wages improving slowly. What stat changed your view the most? Remember, your city's story may differ. Housing, wages, and jobs vary by region. Local data matters. Now, the essentials in 1 minute. Stick with me through the end. Quick list, then an action plan. 1. Real GDP growth was strong. About 4.4% in Q3 2025, per capita output reached roughly $89,599. 2. Unemployment is 4.3% as of January 2026, though 2025 job gains were revised much lower. 3. Inflation cooled to about 2.7% in December 2025. 4. Overall prices are still about 19% higher than before the pandemic. That's the lasting squeeze. 5. Wages outpaced inflation in 2025 by about 1 to 2%, with median around $62,608 for full-time workers. 6. Benefits widened coverage. Net gains for many households. Poverty around 10.6% in 2024. Bottom line, growth resilient, inflation easing, but costs elevated. Knowing the data helps you vote with confidence. These are the facts, straight from government data. Use them to navigate your finances and the bigger picture. What surprised you most? Drop a comment. Like if this clarified things, subscribe for more data-driven breakdowns, and share it with someone who needs it. One final thought. The American worker and the American economy should never be underestimated. Stay informed, stay resilient. See you in the next one.